have some concerns that way, as far as what I see at the location, and it's not because of what I see as far as I can see wouldn't help. But I'm also on the bus and customers, so I think it's important for the businesses to come together to be part of the solution as well.
Hi, I'm Susan Flag. I've worked with homeless population for a while. Again, tonight, a citizen of the advice. This is Robert Pryor. He's from Very Share Ministries, and he is the director for my house.
Thank you. So that gives us a little bit of a pulse check on what brought you all out here tonight. So I think the agenda we have set forth is really going to meet the need that you came out here to listen to. So once the pulse check that, just want to recognize our elected officials who are here. We have some council folks here. If you just raise your hand, we acknowledge thank y'all for being here. You're part of what this conversation is going to be about is how do we all contribute to this addressing this issue. And so I had a couple things I wanted to share real quick. If you could get the screen on at some point and get the projector on. So a part of our agenda tonight is we're going to talk about the resources that are available in our community and give those folks a chance to kind of talk about what the resources are, what those pathways are to access those resources. And then identify what are some of the gaps that exist within the community that citizens are seeing and that community partners are seeing. And then really talk about what's the call to action and what's the best way to use our mobilized energy. So I'll show you real quick. So two things I just wanted to show you again. One is what came to mind was and during when the pandemic first hit, there was a concern around seniors being trapped at home without any food and individuals with disabilities not being able to get out as well. And so part of what we did was we mobilized our church community, our volunteer community, because it was kind of this interest like this. And we set up an initiative called We Care, where for over a year, over 300 seniors got food delivered to their doorstep by a group of volunteers from our community who wanted to make a difference. And so when I hear kind of that, I think about that. And then the other thing I think about is that I just wanted y'all to see when I used to not have as much weight on me. You know, this whole idea of bringing people together to solve or address an issue is not new to me. And I think that's why I was asked to kind of facilitate today's conversation, because I have a track record of being able to bring folks together and getting them to act in a way that makes sense, and doesn't waste people's time and energy and actually has an impact. So that's a part of why I'm standing in front of you today. So with that being said, we're gonna again talk through some of the resources here. I hope that folks walk away with the solutions that I've heard, kind of what people hope to get out of this session. We thought we'd start with those kind of core anchor resources that are available in our community, and then we'll talk our way into what are some of the smaller kind of community resources, and again identify those gaps. So with that being said, I think first on the agenda was Christine from United Way. So United Way plays a pivotal role in addressing homelessness in our community. And so Christine's going to talk a little bit about what the process is and what the programs are for United Way. Feel free to bring your colleague up as well. And then we'll talk for a couple more, and we'll have some open dialogue.
Here, do you want us to use this, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Whichever you're most comfortable with.
I'm so glad to see this. So as Mayor said, I was just going to talk about 211 and some of the key importance to understanding what services actually exist. But I want to say something real quick about that word homeless, right? Passions of stigmatizing, and you'll hear us all use that word. There's probably better words, unhoused, unhomed, but for the lack of a better word, we're going to use that. We know how that sense. But I think we're going to be kind of what we're talking about homelessness. And rest assured that all of the providers you're gonna hear from today don't see those folks as a group of needy people. We see them as individuals, hopes and dreams and goals in life and so forth. They really are individuals. So please forgive, sometimes that language gets in the way for you to hear it. And we're here because we're part of this work. So this is the first step, if you can. So, who knows about one in the room? Well, that's good. Let me, for those of you, for those who don't, I'll just give a quick, promo about that. There's cards in Spanish and English at the table. So 211 is our county's information and referral hotline, 24/7, free, confidential. You can access it to the phone number, which plain and simple, 211. Well, you know that, like 911, you're gonna get, in the case of 211, an information and referral specialist. Most of them are social workers, and again, they work 20%. So you're gonna ask them, tell them your story, right? Hey, my neighbor just lost their job and they need help with job training. Explain that story, they'll ask you a little bit more about that person, and they'll tell you what resources exist in the county for that issue. But it's not just those phone numbers, and then it's good luck, bad luck, right? They're gonna actually say, tell me more. Does this person have transportation? If not, okay, we got these 3 other things that I could have given you, that's not gonna be an option, you're gonna get this one. It really is a way to troubleshoot, so that when your neighbor, in this case, is ready to make that precious phone call, they're not making 6 calls, 5 of which don't get anything, they're making that right call at the time. Does that make sense? It's a way to start the process. Also, on 211, if you know the name of the thing you're looking for, say your pantry. The person is searching for your pantry and they forgot the name of the pantry that you run. 211, yeah, there's pantry, how the streets are on the corner, maybe on the street. Can you tell me what that is? They tell you what that is, right? They have access to mapping softwares. So 211 Homes has a searchable database. And 24/7, you can look at that database and the PJs at 2 in the morning, what's good to know. So first thing that happens when you look up the database, 211 will name that where you'll come in and zip code for the services you're looking for, so maybe you can open it up, you type in your zip code. And then you're gonna hit the button for food, emergency financial assistance, housing, counseling, veterans services, whatever. Hit that button, it's gonna take you to a list of agencies that provide that service. Then you look through those and identify which one of the processes that you are looking for. So that list then will give you a shortcut to the agency's website and the eligibility criteria, again, just so that you are able to take that first phone call or video, but you can take that day. So it'll be the right phone call. Make sense? Okay, I think that's all I wanted to say.
We'll come back.
Okay, let me tee up then for our friends who are in the room that are the shelters. So you will have the opportunity to hear from and talk with the 2 main emergency shelters in the community. Sorry, Megan, but also coordinated entry system. So in our community, you don't just have to sort of guess to show up. There's a phone number that you can call that will direct you to the right place that hasn't been met. And if there is no, it will direct you to what happens next. And if it's, 20 degrees outside the next storm, you'll get directed to what happens next. And those folks are going to so they'll to give you some of that information about how to work those systems. And again, I'm using the word system, and I know it's a bad word, but give us for a moment so we can help you understand what is. Okay, ready?
Reintroduce yourself again.
Okay. I'm Megan Petrie, and I'm with Public Charities, and we operate the Homelessness Center, which is a shelter, in the city of Lorraine for men. And we also operate the coordinated entry program. So in the back, there's this little street card, and in the front, coordinated entry program is the first thing that's listed. Coordinated entry is the law of the land. It's the best practice for entry into homeless continuum of care. So we have in our county very robust continuum of care, and coordinated entry is how people get help if they're experiencing homelessness. So they call the number Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, and they leave a voicemail message. And I know this makes people crazy, because they want a person, right? Voicemail can't help you, you need a person. But there's a method to our madness. We want to answer the calls on the board that they've received. Everybody gets a call back. They don't go home until they answer all the calls in. So leave a message, encourage people if they're asking them to call, leave the message, you will get a call back and we'll get you back over in person. When they call you back, they ask you a standard series of questions. The questions are pretty intimate questions in some ways. They ask if you have disabilities, they ask if you have certain illnesses, are you HIV or AIDS positive? They ask if you've ever been sexually abused. They ask if you're a victim of domestic violence. These are not meant to embarrass you, they are not meant to humiliate you, they aren't meant to pry into your life. We're getting the opening information about how vulnerable your situation is, so that we know how to prioritize how we're going to ask you, how we're going to help you, trying to figure out what's the best way to meet your needs. So the more honest people are, the better chance we have to help them. The two women that work in coordinated entry are lovely, they're very sensitive to the fact that they're asking personal questions of somebody on the other end of the phone. If you don't have a phone, they can come to the Homelessness Center. It's a private office within the center. They can have lunch or breakfast or dinner while they're there. We offer to the community on a regular basis. If you're hungry, please stop by. I just did dinner there, so I'm sorry if I was calling early. But coordinated entry then will make a referral. In the city of Lorraine or the county of Lorraine, they make a referral to either St. Elizabeth Center or to Havens. And it's based on some of those questions that you answered. The St. Elizabeth Center takes what we would call those with the highest barriers. So if you meet certain criteria that makes you harder to house, like maybe you have an arson conviction, you would probably be referred to St. Elizabeth. If you have a violent or other kind of criminal offense that makes it hard to send you to Haven Center where there are children, you'll probably be referred. If you have children, you'll definitely be referred to Haven, unless the part of the housing that you need isn't really for yourself, it's for your kids, and then maybe they'll send you out to lessons. But this is why we ask these questions. So the good news about coordinated entry is, even though the resources are unfortunately limited, I work in 8 counties in Northeast Ohio, and I can tell you the resources are limited in every county. The nice thing about being a relatively small county like Lorraine is when you keep calling coordinated entry, they'll know. They'll say, hey, today I have a room for you, or I have a place for you, or I have a tent for you. Which is not always the greatest option, but some folks don't really want to go to the shelter. So if we have a tent offer, some that prefers to stay outside. It's never going to be there. So that's kind of coordinated. St. Elizabeth Center is a homeless shelter, but it's also a community center. So we offer breakfast, lunch, and dinner 7 days a week. We didn't used to always offer all those meals to everyone, but at some point when the pandemic reopened things, we realized people needed a place to go, so everyone's welcome. Sometimes we limit it to a bag lunch for people in our residence, but most of the time there's at least one really hearty hot meal available to anybody on the door, and we'll always give you something to eat. We are always happy to let people who are maybe living on their car or tent to come and take a shower during the day. And our residents are downstairs, so men and women. We do a clothing voucher if you need it. Anything that you can think of. A lot of times we have a formula that you're struggling, somebody's struggling with those things, and we have a pantry program as well. So we do all those things. I'm kind of casually dressed today. I was slicing turkeys for our Cleveland meal. We do about 15,000 meals at Thanksgiving, so. For my or casual dress, maybe with a sweater on, or my wearing a t-shirt. So, but that's, I mean, that's just the general gist of what After is about in the community, and we are part of that continuum of care that I referred with all the old people that are going from. I think for us next.
So, a couple of things I want you to be thinking about as you're hearing this presentation, okay? Come on up. So some of the questions I had, please write your questions down, so that at the end we can have some questions others have is, okay, what's the phone number? Are there hours of operation? And how many people do you serve, per year? So those are some of the questions in my mind, and again, we'll circle back around and there'll be questions for you too, but I want to invite Rebecca from Neighborhood Alliance.
Hello, everyone. Hello. So I'm Rebecca Haywood, staff of Neighborhood Alliance. I want to talk to you about a couple of programs that we operate that I think are important for this meeting tonight. We have several programs, but the two that I'm going to talk about are Haven Center and our CAP team. So Haven Center is our homeless shelter. It's the largest homeless shelter in Warren County. It is a 68-bed facility serving single men, single women, and intact families, and also members of the LGBTQ community. So that's the shelter piece. People are allowed to come there whenever, then year round. People don't have to leave the shelter during the day at all. So people have that misconception. It's time to you have to leave, go find a job or something during the day. Our shelter is always open. So you can stay there when it's cold outside, when it's raining. They wouldn't have to leave and go with us and stay in the shelter with us. We offer case management in the shelter. We offer several services to our residents who are there. Not all their meals, breakfast, and dinner, with the main priority being case management and trying to get them housed. So we want to make sure we get them out of shelter. Shelter is not a place to stay for very long. We try to stick to 45 days. We can, but obviously, if we can, then people have too much longer than that time. It's our best to try to get them housed at the end of the day. The other program that I want to talk about is our CAP team. And I think a lot of people, some this CAP team, I think probably knows about CAP team, but I think there are many that probably don't. So the CAP team is the homeless outreach team. The gist of why they exist is really to connect literally homeless individuals with mental health services. Totally part of the funding is federally funded. So we have a CAP team that goes out in the community. Sometimes people may refer and say, hey, I think there's somebody in the park sleeping in their car. It looks like they might have a kid or two. Our team will go out and assess that situation and see what is really going on. Are they really homeless? How long have they been there? What's the situation? How can we help them? We take referrals from coordinated entry, but we also take referrals from anyone in the community. We've had concerned citizens reach out to us, store owners, park rangers, law enforcement, anyone who thinks they see someone outside who's in trouble and they need some service. We do it on campus too, people under bridges, people in parks, abandoned homes, our CAP team, they're a pretty brave team. We have a representative of our team here tonight, but they go out and do that work tirelessly all year long. So basically our CAP team. Now, along with trying to get help for those individuals that are outside, sometimes they don't want to come in. As you know, Christine said, sometimes we may offer them the ability to come in the shelter. We may have a bed for them or beds for them with family. They may deny that and they may not want to come in. That's okay. We're still going to try to work with those individuals to get them the services that they need. We're still going to check on them and make sure they're okay. Maybe we'll go back the next day, a couple days later. We're going to try and build that rapport to get them to trust us a little bit so that we can continue to try and offer the services on a connection for them to not all the person they need. Along with doing all that, we do also offer them tents, tarps, backpacks, food, and warmers, whatever the case may be. It's kind of seasonal when it's winter time like this. We may offer a poncho, hand warmers, dry socks, things like that. And in summertime, we'll switch it up a little bit. We'll offer sunscreen, bug spray, all the things you might need when you are kind of camping outside of one in the heat or walking around. So let's see if there's our CAP team. Hours of operation for the shelter. Shelter is open 24 hours a day. So if anyone knows of someone who needs shelter or needs services, First, we're gonna go with coordinated entry during business hours. If it's a holiday, it's a weekend, overnight, you can call the shelter directly. That number is 440-233-8768. And then option 1, and that's gonna get you right to the shelter. We have 440-233-8768. And the person who operates that lovely facility is Heather Rowe, and she's here in room 2. So if you don't know anything about shelter, don't call me. She's also the person who oversees the impact team, so she is the manager of shelter emergency services. She oversees both of her.
Yep, it's already next. So a couple of things, there was a question about, let's take care of those, there's a question about if the person doesn't have a phone, can they just show up to the site? Which the answer is yes. Challenge is how they're gonna get the transportation to the site. So I think a part of this conversation is to identify those gaps, and we use the word system because that's what we call it, or we call it our community. But within our community, where are those gaps? I think transportation is a major gap in our community that we're gonna have to figure out how to address in the community. One thing that I wanted to before I bring up Pete Clark, I think they play an integral role in this. It was maybe a month or 2 ago when the Haven Center got flooded out with that big storm. And so we learned about that and learned that there was challenges finding a place to put folks. So we, through Director Scott and Community Development here at the city, we put an agreement together with P2R where we gave them a grant so that they could provide hotel vouchers and motel vouchers for folks who are homeless. So when you speak, be sure to share how folks can access that as well. You know, what my desire after hearing the feedback and kind of how we thought about coming into this, I want you all to walk away from this meeting feeling empowered. Like, you know what resource, like you got this toolkit now in your phone, in your head, in your pocket that, hey, if I see somebody, I know this resource is there, and then I also know if there's not a resource, you know, I also know that, hey, I shouldn't tell this person this because I know there's a gap there. So I'm really hoping you walk away feeling empowered with the information you need to be able to be a better service to our community. So with that being said, I'm gonna ask Walter to come up and talk a little bit about your services and particularly we'll talk about hotel pieces.
My name is Marshall Atwood. Thank you all for being here first and foremost. I want to apologize on behalf of my executive director, Steve Caldwell. Without her, I would be standing here basically this. So this flyer right here represents the warming center for this winter season. The information on here is accurate, I know, because the slide is made in August. By the direction of our executive director. So that number is a coordinated entry number. So anytime it's from 8 to 5 Monday to Friday, except for this Thursday and Friday, because they do not be in operation, right? Okay, but there's another number you will be able to call. Don't worry. We got you covered. We got you covered. So after hours and weekends, this number at the bottom, this goes in effect when it's 32 degrees or below. When it's 32 degrees or below, that's when that goes in effect. But according to age, it's effect all the time. It's not what we call the Hays.
And our hotel vouchers are not weather dependent either.
Oh, that's good.
Because that's important. That's important. So yeah,
So there's a backup. So they're going to be covered. So I'm gonna speak.
yeah. I just want to, because this came up a couple times when I was talking to Tiffany earlier. This is a misconception that, you know, when we put our hotel voucher program together with you all, it was in response to the Haven Center flooding. It wasn't in response to the winter. So we don't want you all to limit yourselves. Oh, it's only 32 degrees, long time to get a hotel voucher. That was not the stipulation of our grant. So if there's folks out there that you can help, that's falling through the crack, really on the system, we want you to just feel free to serve those folks. I want to say that.
I I didn't cover that, and it was, people are out 6 families. We had 6 people in the hotel for 2 months. So just so you know.
No, I know.
Just so you know, we utilize the resources where they need. Plain and simple. If we have the resources, we're gonna utilize them. Sometimes we may not have the resources. But sometimes we might get out and get it. You call churches. You got a family that need to get out. Really. Plain and simple.
And what's the phone number, if you could read that off?
The second phone number right
You
there.
can read it off for folks who aren't in the room, because this is being live.
Okay, so the coordinated entry, number right here is 440-242-0455. I better memorize that. I already have it. I utilize it. If someone come into our office and they're homeless, that's the first thing we're going to have. Because it's important that we be part of the system. Because the system is down to help. Right?
And then what's P2R's phone number?
P2R's phone number is not on here. However, this number on here is our hotline. It's a cell phone. That right now somebody has a need.
And go ahead and read that off for the folks.
440-830-1011. 440-830-1011.
And when should someone call that second phone number?
Someone should call the second phone number after 5 o'clock Monday through Friday. Or if coordinated is slow. So that the person on the other line, which is staff member from each squad. So we have 3 shifts, we have an assignment. So at 24 hours, someone's gonna have on 24 hours. 24 hours. So you call that service would be that somebody can come get you and get you to a safe place.
Now, let's pause right here, stay up here, please. If I could have United Way and Neighborhood Alliance, or Catholic Charities, whatever, and Neighborhood Alliance, United Way, not necessarily, because I want to take a pause here, because I'm looking for, because what I heard you mention was, you mentioned about churches adopting families. You mentioned about, when there's a need, but there's not funding, sometimes you have to go hunt it and get the resources. So I wanted to open the floor for y'all to talk about folks out there who want to help. We're like, man, I just feel like I want to help somehow. What are the ways that they can help in each aspect of
I was gonna grab my phone and put my director's line out there.
Oh, gosh. No, so not about it. We talked about this in the call, about what's the research outside of Neighborhood Alliance. Yeah, the shows there, there's some things we can do to help support. I'll put a pin in this real quick, because one of the objectives that I had in this session was to make sure people are aware of the people who do this work every day, and appreciate them and respect them and recognize that they do this work every day. But some of us, we read an article, we're like, yo, I'm in, I want to help, but these folks are living this stuff every single day. So can we give my hand first off to show I'm not sure where I will do this. I respect you and appreciate you. But what are the ways that folks can support the Haven Center, can support PAD, can support Neighborhood Alliance, folks who would like to get involved with?
Thank you. So I'll try to do this all quick. So Earth Haven, we are always accepting food, meals, clothing, anything for residents, undergarments, things like that. People are nice to have. If you want to come and help serve a meal, we take volunteers when we come, Thanksgiving, Christmas, times like that. It's nice to have some extra people who are helping diner and serve meals. So if you want to do that, you can still call that main line. You can still do option 1. We'll reach out to others and we'll go to there if you can help out. On the other end, for PATH, we're always taking supplies. If people want to donate anything to put in backpacks, maybe down to homeless individuals or outside, tents, tarps, any type of hygiene supply, like I said, bug spray, anything you can use outside, which would be items that you like for residents on the volunteer end. Something really big coming up, what we call the count. The point in time count is done every year, this will be done early in 2024. We need volunteers to come out and help us go outside throughout Lorraine County and count homeless individuals that are literally outside. This is a big undertaking, we do it every year. We need volunteers this year, and a lot of ground covers, so if anyone wants to help out with that, please let us know. You can reach out to me if you want to do that, Rebecca H at myendofminds.org, and I can give you all the information that you need. Thanks.
Not surprisingly, Catholic Charities would take a lot of the same things. So we have groups, a lot of church groups that make meals, bring them, serve the meals, or just drop them off on a regular basis. We're always happy to have somebody who wants to do that. We love donations of underwear, socks. If you don't have somewhere to stay, think how quickly your clothes will be unusable. So the guys go to the clothes really socks and underwear are key. Something that you don't think about, or at least I never thought about before I got into this work is, and a guy comes to the shelter, for clothing and entry, we feed him dinner, go upstairs, we say, hey, would you like to do your laundry? And he looks at you and said, I sure would. This is everything I own. So unless you want me to be naked, you can't do my laundry. So we try to give them like a welcome kit, pajamas, depending on what we got, some underwear, just something comfortable like sweatpants or something that they can wear, that they can change into after they take a shower that's clean, and they can put their clothes in the laundry without feeling embarrassed. So we're always happy to take sweatpants, t-shirts, sleep shorts or sleep pants, anything that they need for toiletries. Recently, there have been a lot more unsheltered women in the county that we're seeing. So we've had a lot of ladies come even during the day to take showers. So women's clothing in small amounts, we don't have a ton of storage, so we try to keep that stuff on hand as well. Hygiene items are always appreciated. Razors, toothpaste, toothbrushes. Sometimes we have school groups make like a little kit that you can stick in the backpack. Backpacks are a hot item. Something you don't have to carry in your hand, but you can put it on your shoulders, hands free while you're working. Is always a big thing. The things that we kind of take for granted. We try to keep coffee going. We think coffee is like revs you up in the morning, but if you have nothing, if you know there's coffee, it actually calms you down. So we try to serve coffee all day because my staff teases me. They don't want to see me without coffee. They don't want to see you guys without coffee either. So we try to have coffee all the time. So we have groups that just come and bring us coffee sometimes. They can't serve the coffee. So that's something else that we really appreciate to see. You had a question? Where are you located? We are at 2726 Caroline County. So we're right in the city of Lorraine.
Donations. We're a nonprofit, so our funding is sometimes extremely limited, sometimes, we right there at the border. And sometimes we're not able to assist, and that's be in a position where we have a homeless fire, and there's nothing we can do about it. It's devastating, because these beds full, those beds full. I'm reaching out to people and try to get bed. I'm trying to get someone to assist. And the funding is not there. It's hard. It really is. And I've been in that position. We go out and pick up. I go out. I'm actually the entry coordinator. I'm the entry supervisor, the entry specialist for the organization. Right now, I do whatever is required. I do. Right now, I'm the one supervisor. That's my job. Period. That's it. That's what I'm concerned about. Not to say I don't have any office or case management, but donations allow us to move in a way where we're able to help who needs help in that moment. Donations can be monetary, donations can be volunteer.
Yes, sorry.
Very important. We do have a presentation that comes and drops off gas questions. And on North Ridge Road, 1909 North Ridge Road, Suite 6. It's right behind Boys and Girls.
So you signed in today, we asked you for your email address, and the goal is to send you all this information, the contact information for these folks, these phone numbers, et cetera. So make sure you signed in, there's.
We're going through a little transition at the St. Homelessness Center. If you have something that you would like to know if we do, or if you can volunteer or coordinate, shoot me a text. I know that it's impersonal to some people, but I promise you I will respond to it. My number is 216-333-9606. Don't worry, my calls are silenced at 9. It's 216-333-9606. I get lots of texts from clients and everyone, but I will return them all. So my name is Megan. Do you have a question?
Yes, I have a question. Question is, I've had someone who's I know with the pandemic, everything's going on now. You mentioned socks.
Yes.
You mentioned socks. And I was you take something that's clean and everything, but people are saying that, I've had persons that go, they want to do something like that, they have to be. Now, is that?
We do prefer for new sex. I mean, I'll take gently used clothing, but for anything that I consider like underwear, which I would include sex, new is best. We don't want the guys to feel like we're giving them something that somebody else doesn't want to wear anymore. So gently used clothing that's still in good shape, we're happy to have, but not underwear, not sex. Thank you. That's a really good point. We would like new in the package, so that they know that they're the first owner.
Thank you. And for pre-program entry, you would want someone in terms of identification, like their driver's license, social security number, and maybe birth certificate. Would that be all three of you?
So what's required to access your services? Any sort of ID or anything required? Please?
No, a lot of people are experiencing homelessness, often just really struggle with ID. That's the first thing a lot of times that we work with in case management, which I forgot to mention, we also provide case management. But that a lot of times getting those IDs, forms of ID that you mentioned, whether it's social security, birth certificate, or driver's license, which is a state ID, that's oftentimes the first thing that we help someone do when they enter a shelter. You don't need to have those things to enter a shelter.
All three organizations, Neighborhood Alliance, Catholic Charities, and PQR, all have an email address that where one person can take incoming email. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you want them to contact the county official, there's an address. Someone will read that.
Catholic Charities has a big general website, and if you go to the website, which is www.ccdocle.org, there's a place to answer questions, and they funnel them to the appropriate person, whether it's my department or another department. Every day I get emails from that general email, so yes.
You haven't talked much about healthcare for impoverished populations. Do you have any need for volunteer healthcare providers?
We have at different points have had groups come in to do to help sign people up for healthcare services, or we've had people come in and do like basic blood pressure checks. We had a group one time of podiatrists come and check people's fees. Wounds are a common problem. We have a lot of diabetics, and that also contributes to that, in addition to being on the in the pandemic, I know we have people come in and do flu shots, COVID shots, things like that. So yeah, I mean, if you want to give me a call, we'd be happy to set it up. I mission program. Same.
Yeah, we've done HIV testing. We've generally partnered with the county health department, different organizations, nonprofits will help. So we're really happy to come with you. This is provides.
Yeah, and I think, I love that last question, because a part of what I believe we have to do as a community is find how we can contribute to the solution. And thinking about what I'm assuming you're in the healthcare space. So she thought about, hey, I have this gift and talent of healthcare. How can I contribute to addressing the issue? And I think that's a fair question for all of us be reflective and ask, all right, what can I contribute to the solution to addressing this issue? As elected officials, I think the same thing, you know, I looked at it as mayor and said, hey, what can I do? And that's why we formed our partnership. That's why we, you know, one of the things that we're gonna talk about in a minute is the Bridgepoint Commons. And one of the reasons why I supported us and unlocked that so that we could actually build that, because we all have to figure out what is the greatest level of influence we can have on this problem. And, you know, my challenge to us as a community, and we're gonna shift because I want to have Octavia and also think my challenge to the community is gonna be, and they're gonna be around the last half hour as well. So we'll wrap this up in the next 15 minutes, and then the last half hour we'll open it up for just dialogue and questions. The challenges to the community is let's not allow this to be something that just we got interested in for a day and then we just kind of moved on. You know, this is an issue that's been in our community. And the other piece is we can't have it both ways. What I mean by that is the Bridgepoint Commons project, which Julie is going to speak on, is a permanent supportive housing that was built on Bridge Street. It's one of the most proven solutions to addressing homelessness in the country. It's one of the best models to address homelessness. The amount of pushback I got for supporting and helping to unlock that was immense. And it's so interesting and ironic to be in a space now where people are passionate and want to help out the homeless. And I just want to challenge us not to be hypocritical about that. You know, that if we're gonna help, let's help. And let's do the short-term things that we need to do in these emergency situations. But I think we would be remiss if we didn't also support long-term solutions that would get folks off the street. And so as challenges to be on both sides, I think with that being said, Octavia and Julie, if you can come up. So Octavia, you have a great name. It's my daughter's name, by the way. Why don't you share a little bit about, you know, first before you get into the work, like what inspired you? What I've learned, you're one of the driving forces why we're here today. So we can talk a little bit about that, and then dive into some of what you've learned in terms of resources.
I'm Octavia Mayer. I am currently with LM Cleveland as a legal guardian. However, I am the previous housing specialist at the Warren Center. This all kind of came about because I was watching social media and seeing everybody up in arms in outrage about somebody passing away that was of a young age of homeless. And all of the community members saying that they wanted to just go out there and help people and solve problems, but on their own and not with proper support systems. As someone who has previously gone out with the PAC team or with rapid rehousing teams, I have walked down the hills in the snow and looked under the bridges, and it is not safe to do if you are not aware of who you're approaching, the fact that you're approaching their safe space and potentially causing disruption in their life by trying to help. So I wanted to get the community together, jumped on the COC meeting with all of these lovely folks, and got them all to agree to hold this town hall meeting with the assistance of the mayor, so that we could kind of make sure that everyone was aware that yes, we do want your help. Yes, your help is needed. However, there's a way to do it. There's a way that you can do it that'll put yourself and others at risk, and we don't want you to do that. So that's how this started. I am filling in for the North Center today. So the North Center currently offers two programs. The rapid rehousing program, which is for individuals who are currently in a homeless situation. And then the housing prevention program, which prevents them from becoming homeless. So with rapid rehousing, you still have to go through CE. You have got to be verified in the system. You have to either enter or decline shelter, depending on what your need is. You aren't forced into shelter to participate, but you have to go through coordinated entry to get that first step. Once you're in with coordinated entry and get a referral over to rapid rehousing, they'll get your security deposit, they'll get your first month's rent, they'll help you with 2 additional months of rent. And then they will provide you with case management, such as setting up a budget for you, doing any changes or things that you need help with, we need you case management services through NORD if you need that. They have a career program there that can help get you into a good paid job so that you can retain your home once you have it. Or with the HD program, you have to have proof that you are being evicted. And unfortunately, it has to come down to that 3-day notice. You have to let it go all the way, and if you get in that spot, you need help, they're there to help while they can. However, funding for the prevention program is terrible, seriously. And trying to retain housing for people is the easiest way to prevent homelessness to begin with. So more funding for that is definitely needed throughout our county. I know this year the rapid housing program also is running short on funding. However, they are helping as many people as they can. They'll help you think with the landlord if they have something available. If not, post it on Facebook. I mean, I reach out to people all day long and say, I know the landlord is for them, let me help you. And if that doesn't work, we can all reach out to each other and help. But North Center is a great resource for not only homeless prevention, but getting people housed, helping those 3 months and trying to get us out of it. And now today, I am found Rafferty, who is amazing, could not be here today because she's there. So she wanted to talk about the veterans programs for homelessness. Their name is super long. So it's Family Community Services Support Services for Veteran Families. It's all over Marion County. They have permanent housing assistance on a temporary basis and a new program called the Shower Subsidy that pays half the rent total. Financial assistance covers 2 years. They also get full case management by the wonderful Gloria. It has temporary financial assistance provided directly to our veterans. The Valor Home in Lorraine, they have 30-bed transitional housing facilities for male veterans. They can stay up to 2 years, but the average is only 6 months. They have private veterans group dining. Valor Goods project is 3 small apartment units. It's a permanent supportive housing unit for female veterans located in Lorraine, and they are trying to get another one pushed through. And it is incorporated shipping containers transformed into tiny homes, which is super cool. They have provided permanent housing for 48 veteran families in the past year. They have provided transitional housing for 45 veterans in the past year. At the start of the new year, they're working with Access for healthcare provisions. They have a hotline for the veterans. So veterans do not have to go through coordinated entry. The veterans have their own hotline to link them with the housing services. It's 855-234-7310. And that connects you to all the programs for veterans. Valerie also said that if you want to donate or volunteer, call her. Preferably not a minute, but call her. And her number is 440-670-6362. She said that they need hygiene items and cleaning supplies all the time. And a thank you to the churches and groups who provide hot meals for Valor residents on occasion. If you need to reach the Valor Home, their number is 440-387-4293. You can call them for volunteer opportunities as well.
I take, I want to thank you for your leadership on this and the wisdom that you had in terms of making sure we didn't try to reinvent any wheels. And I think one of my state, is we don't need to reinvent the wheel. Sometimes we just need to turn. And part of what we're trying to do is turn those wheels in the direction of the need right now here in the city of Elyria. So thank you for your leadership on that. Let's give her a hand. Next, we have Ridgeway County, there's Julie here that's going to talk about that. I was there earlier today, got a chance to talk with some of the residents as well as some of the staff there. Some of the things I hope you've heard tonight so far, hygiene products, socks, undergarments, food, whether it's a one-time meal or non-perishables. So those are some things that you're thinking about giving to there, you're thinking money. And money, money, because sometimes they can stretch a dollar. I know that's how it is in the Second Harvest. If you give a can, it's like, all right, thanks, we appreciate that we get it. But if you give me $1, I can get 5 cans because I can buy in bulk. So money plays a huge factor. So as you're thinking about Giving Tuesday, this upcoming Tuesday, or you're just thinking about over the holiday, like, how can we give back as a community, as a family? I think I'm thinking that as a family, all right, what are we doing for those less fortunate? I think, we can say, all right, let's go get, let's go buy a couple book bags, fill them up with hygiene products and drop them off at the Haven Center. Let's go drop them off at Catholic Charities. For the PATH program, when they go to Alliance, when y'all go out through the county, y'all interact with the folks? So do y'all give them things? So, okay, so we could, just have a backpack that we could donate, that could be given to some folks out on the street. So yeah, that's how I'm thinking about it for my family, and I think you're a part of the church, it's talking about as a church. And if you're in part of any other community groups, sports clubs, etc., that's something you could think about as well. Julie, why don't you talk a little bit about what permanent supportive housing is in general, for those who don't know, and then we'll talk a little bit about, we got all 4 minutes, and then we'll talk a little bit about what he says about how to access.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Julie Moore, and I am a regional manager for Eden Incorporated. It's a rural development network, so Eden for short. We feel that we have many programs, and last year we helped almost 5,000 people either get into housing or retain housing in some way. We are a housing authority, so we provide funds for people to get into housing and stay in housing. And the most prominent thing, the most prominent program that we have is our PSHS. So PSH, we call it PSH, it's permanent supportive housing. And it is permanent in that there's only one requirement for you to be able to live in the building and stay in there as long as you like, that is to be able to abide by your lease. You don't need to have income to stay there, you don't have to be employed, you're not time limited, you just have to be able to abide by your lease and live independently, as in taking care of yourself. That's the only requirement to live there. Homelessness, I believe, is a symptom of something that's greater going on inside the person, and a lot of times going on inside our communities as well. So once we can get somebody housed and alleviate that symptom of homelessness, then we can start working on the other issues, the real issue, the core issue that brought them to the state of homelessness. A lot of it's trauma, neglect, abuse, many things like that. We partner with the North Center here in Elyria in Lorain County. So they are our on-site partner, and they provide case management, counseling, anything that the mental health piece, if they provide that for our residents on site. So we have case management on site, regular business hours Monday through Friday, and we have other backup lines and some of the lines mentioned in here, crisis lines and things like that for everybody, because it's always something we get when somebody's gone. But yeah, we get on to that as well. We have many PSH buildings in Cleveland. They're very successful, as Mayor alluded to. That is probably one of the only programs that is really addressing the root cause of homelessness. It's really making progress. It's not just housing people, it's getting them back up on their feet, helping them find a job, helping them keep a job. Support employment is offered through the North Center and other partner agencies. So we can really get to the cause of this and get rid of that and start addressing these past issues and these issues that they're walking around with every day. We can help them work through those issues. So just real quick on the PSH piece, we bring them into our building, they get their own apartment. If they have income, that's great. The rent is always a third of their income. If they have no income, they live there for free. We don't charge them rent. We're there to fix the person, not to make the money. Of course, we have funding, government funding and things like that. But they're not under any pressure to, hey, you have to get a job, you have to do something immediately. It's there to support them literally in everything they do. Always there to kind of push a little bit. It's a little bit hard to work on those old issues. Let's do it together. Let's start working on them. Let's start talking about it. I'm not going to focus on anything right now. So it's really trying to heal the whole person. As I said, they have to abide by their lease. When they move into the unit, They get a microwave, a TV, a moving kit, which has everything that they need to set up housekeeping. We have a food pantry on site, and of course, we do have food pantries that come into the building, and the residents can come down and get things they like. And that's a really efficient way to do it, because we're not giving them a bag of stuff that they don't like and they're not gonna use, you know? So that's a good program that we have there. We have a volunteer community agency that brings in lunches every Friday for all the residents. So we also have a community building inside the building, inside the program, so that we can kind of get them to have a stake in the game. They can be a resident of this building. They can find their voice to start speaking out and saying, this brings me joy. This, I don't like that very much. Let's, you know, but they have a part in how the building is run, how their community is run. They can help anchor other residents. A lot of times when you're broken, you can't fix yourself, but you can fix somebody else. So it really creates a community where people want to stay. They want to be accepted. They want to maintain their houses. So it's a wonderful, wonderful program. I've seen so many success stories. I'll wrap it up real quick. When I was a property manager, it was a beautiful building, and I would hear people bring their families in, and their families look around and they're like, wow, you live here? I can't believe you live here. And a lot of times it's nicer than where the families live, you know, and they look at him, and this one particular case I'll never forget. She's like, maybe you have changed. Maybe I'm gonna go visit you more. And it just touches my heart. I had an older gentleman, and he's like, if he gets out of line, and his son is like 50, because if he gets out of line, you call me, because he's not gonna lose this place. So it's just really, it's rebuilding families as well as communities. It's a wonderful program. Quick plug, Broadway Commons, we're trying to build another PSH in Lorain County. Please encourage your friends and family to go for this project. It's a beautiful building. It's homeless. It's such an improvement to the neighborhood. A lot of our residents will go out and volunteer once they start getting themselves together. They go out and pick up around the neighborhood. You know, they have so much to offer. So let's give them a chance to have a place to live.
So awesome, Julie. A couple of things that I heard earlier today that you can support at Bridgepoint is food, if you want to bring a hot meal. Also cleaning supplies, so these folks have to maintain their units, so cleaning supplies. And then things that you might do with yourself to help keep yourself entertained. That's another piece, like I think word puzzles or things like that was mentioned as a way to donate as well. But I think, you know, one of the things I'm hoping is that as a community, we can wrap our arms around places like Bridgepoint and build relationships with the folks there, especially our church and faith community. And so these folks have connection to the outside world and have that continued dignity. So thank you, Julie. And so what we're gonna do, my closing comments, and then we're gonna have some time for networking, because we want you to interact with these resources. Here, we're gonna shut things down by 7:30, but we want to give you a chance to interact with these resources directly. One, I'm just grateful for you all. I'm grateful that there's folks out there who are trying to address this every day. There's folks who want to be a part of the solution and donate and support. That's a big deal. I mean, and the fact that you aren't turning a blind eye to this is a big deal, that you want to be a part of it. I just want to give two comments related to that. One is, this is a big problem. And it's not unique to Elyria. It's great to see us trying to address it, but this is a national and global problem around homelessness that deals with affordable housing, mental health, deals with housing discrimination. There's so many dynamics that lead to a person being unhoused. So don't be discouraged with every outcome, because I've heard a couple folks already share their stories about trying to help someone, but then that person maybe didn't have the outcome that you desired long term. And as someone who's been doing this for 20 years, serving people, you're not always going to get the outcome that you wish that person would get. What we're responsible for is planting the seed, watering the seed, doing our part, and doing the best that we can, but we can't control the outcomes. But what we want to do is, what they say in the health department, make the best choice, the easy choice for folks. And I think you're a part of that solution tonight. So I'm going to ask all those nonprofit organizations that come forward right now, come up to the front so that folks can identify you as they walk up and have questions for you. If you have a question, you've been holding here for a while now.
Yeah, excuse me. I was in house, and one of the things I think with this forum right now, it has to be mentioned.
Yes.
As great as everybody is doing, and they're doing amazing things, there are not enough resources to take care of everything that needs to be taken care of. Every single day, we get calls of blessing house. I don't have a place to go. The shelters are full. And it's not gonna take long for the Haven to say, I'm sorry, no more beds. Catholic Charities is already at that point. So when we talk about people sleeping in cars because they don't wanna come in, we get calls from people who are sleeping in cars because they can't come in.
Yeah.
So when we talk about how can we do things as a community, is, go to our church, pastors, go to our people and say, bring your family into your house with you. How many times we get a call, I came up here, I moved in with my sister, I moved in with my brother. We had an argument, they kicked me out.
Yes.
And now I don't have a place to stay.
Yeah.
So how can we go to our church communities and say, how do we get along with each other, folks? How do we bring these people in and give them a place to stay? So it's a whole lot more than taking up a collection and doing those kinds of things. Because if we find a way to reach out to people and say, where's your compassion? Where's your tolerance? How can we do more to help somebody else? There's so many other things. We're looking for rental places for the families that we're working with. But we can't always trust what we see in Facebook because of the scams and everything. So everybody's out in the community. If you see a rent sign that somebody just put up, call one of these agencies and say, hey, there's a place that just went up for rent. Do you want to know about it? Because otherwise we're driving around looking for places for our families to rent. So you're not in the community. If you see a place up for rent, call them and say, hey, just want to make sure you know about this. So think outside the box. There's so many more things that we can do other than just take up donations, which is great, and volunteering. But that means we have to extend ourselves a little bit more than what we've been doing, because otherwise it's not going to happen. It's not enough.
Thank you, Shanna. Again, Abraham. I think, one thing that I've been hearing your comment, one of the questions I guess I had for the group here, who has heard something tonight that, who's gonna do something about this from this meeting? Who's gonna do something now, walking away from this and like, all right, I'm gonna donate something, I'm gonna volunteer something, I'm gonna do something to address this problem, to do my part to address this problem by a show of hands. Who's gonna do something, some form of action? Okay, so that looks like 99% of the room is feeling compelled to action. Does anybody want to share what those actions might be? Mother Warren. Okay, please.
I'm from the Warren, and five social workers, so I work with some of these agencies. My concern is, it seems like we're looking at endings. One of the problems, transportation, is that all the facilities are in low range. So how do we, as a community, a area, how do we provide service for our community? I run around the city and there's vacant buildings, there's vacant houses. What are we doing that's going to address what's going on in our neighborhoods, what's going on in our backyard? And I know that it takes a village for that. It takes all of us. The churches, of course. But we have got to decide what are we going to do for our people who are not comfortable.
Yeah.
They are not. But they'll go around the corner, or they'll go to someone they are familiar with, one of the agencies of serving the areas of needs. So my biggest question is, what are we going to do with all these empty houses, all these empty buildings? How can we access those buildings to provide services and homes? We got 68 houses with one bed in one place. And what's the number of beds in that? 56. That's
not enough, yeah.
I'm going to say this down. I witnessed a homeless mother walking down West Avenue on the way to this meeting with all of her belongings bundled up. She could hardly carry it. Now this is just down the street. We do not build things.
We gotta do something different, it's gotta be done during the year. And I am willing to stand up, be a part of that financially, and I don't just listen.
That's awesome. Thank you, Mother Warren. I think, to your point, I think, there's so many aspects when you said there's the political will, you know, from a political standpoint, but us outside from the political will, the government isn't running Catholic charities. The government isn't running P2R. The government isn't running Neighborhood Alliance. The government ain't running United Way. It's leaders like you all in this room saying, all right, I'm gonna do something about this. Babe, we got that extra house and we barely get any money from Britain anyway. What if we turn that into, you know, a four bedroom suite for addressing homelessness? What if we connected with the church? So it really takes that sort of introspection and really, you know, inventory of what you have available to you and then making that commitment. But it's gonna come from leaders like you all. These folks are leaders, they're not elected folks. These are folks who have made the decision that this is what they're gonna dedicate their life to. We're looking for those folks in the city of Elyria to start to step up and be these sort of leaders as well. So that's why we asked for your email. Who's gonna be the person who follows up? I'm not in here in that little bit, so who's gonna be the person who follows up with these folks who signed? Not the initial email, we're gonna make sure you get it. But I think there's a greater opportunity to keep these folks organized, keep these folks engaged. Is that through continuum of care? Is that the right vehicle? So you'll get connected to the continuum of care, which is the vehicle that you can stay engaged in this work so that it lives beyond any administration or lives beyond any political changes. So that this work can continue. So thank you all again for coming. Please come up here and network with these folks, get to know them, and then we'll shut it down at 7:30. Thank you all so much for being here. Thank you.
Frank, I hope you're coming to say hi to me. We get to meet in person. Bobby said she's gonna come and meet you and volunteer in the new year from my office. Yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome. You step over that. I'm going behind you.
Oh, you're gonna go? Yes. All right.
That's And so one of the things that came up, that we didn't talk about, we were still to talk about, real quick, one of the things we were talking about, was the gap between student budget. And so, real quick, I think it's gonna take 10 minutes on this issue of the gap since we heard it. So we heard kind of what was in the system tonight, but we didn't get a chance to talk about the gaps that the issue here were being met. So one of the gaps I heard already, we didn't talk about was, for people who don't have technology, for transportation was one gap we heard. Hey, if I want to get transportation on the rain, how I was that's the gap. The other gap that we heard was around technology, so they didn't have cell phone. But one of the gaps that y'all are here, we want to make sure you get that. Transportation. So the three homes and families, the resources to get out there.
On the walls, they set up this so around, we go out. I mean, they serve, and there are some resources. And the
Like the board going on, and maybe so you actually get right transportation, so that was the word going on.
Landlords that are willing to let traffic help in the yeah.
Zoning issue, if somebody wanted to build or burn the home, like relative space. Rising rent costs, or they consistent with rent.
How long is
Well, the hotel, how long do they last? 3 days.
3 days.
3 days. It was 3 days.
3 days.
3 days, it came out to 32 degrees. Oh, we put those people in a hotel.
2 months. So you're talking about
Some of the people hotel for a couple of days. Some of the people.
okay.
You know, say, but all depending on the situation.
So depending on the situation.
Whether you lie. You lie.
Period. Any other gaps anybody want to share to make sure that they capture any other gaps? Any other gaps in the record? Any other gaps in the system? Medical treatment, weird things, medical and health care services, the running gap. And I feel the system, and we have to volunteer for,
I
Another gap is investment, and there's folks out there willing to rehab homes, but there's not necessarily a pathway, a clear pathway to get that done. So having a clear path to rehab homes. To deal with the vacant homes, so this gap between the vacant homes and the people who's interested, how do we close that gap? Yes.
I just wanted to. We're a 50-bed men's shelter. Did you hear that they have to find they obviously did not go to Bridger and 47 people, which was twice as much as we'd ever done. And more than 20 that are going to Bridger. And, you know, in a county that has chronic homelessness and people who prefer to live in shelter. Like in Lorraine County, it's been statistically notable on a national level that we are providing chooses to be unsheltered. That's chronic shelter. So the fact that a lot of those guys were able to see persuaded to go to a place like Bridget, it's really amazing. You know, and the foresight to see that. I know people worry about you talked about the fair, but I don't need market. Having exactly. You know, if we're all safer with people, have somewhere safe to be. So thank you for that. That's a big deal.
Not yet. I've been looking. Last time I saw it, it's not the same. And I don't really have money.
Now we'll
so we made, we signed up. There's they were on this side. Some people. But I gave most of the rest. You know, he came by. Said, "Well, he's gonna apply." Turned him into us. I wish I could find ways to
Yeah.
And then I was like,
yeah.
yeah, but you're like,
I still, I really want to
I'm sorry, putting up next thing, putting no, we are looking.
I think it's this. Really, I don't think it. And beyond the wall, it's really have to leave. And I can write it down and say it's not. Only once a month.
Any other gas, any other gas, anybody have any car? Yeah, well, let's see, this stuff, the above the escape, but we can go, but we can throw the others. And then go in. Now.